ParshaCast.com presents.
Will he choose the gold or the coals? The gold or the coals? It's Midrash Monday on the ParshaCast. Bruchim habayim, everyone. Welcome to another Midrash Monday here on the ParshaCast. Today, I'm going to talk about a Midrash that I've been hearing since first or second grade at least, if not earlier, and it's a classic. And I heard it in a very short form originally, although as you'll hear today, there's a bit more to the story. So when I was a kid, we would always learn the following story as an explanation for why Moshe says in this week's Parsha to God that he is slow of speech. So the story goes that Paro was getting suspicious of this baby Moshe, and he decided to make a test. And the test was to see whether Moshe was really trying to get his power, really trying to get his gold and his crown and everything else that came with being a king. So he laid before baby Moshe gold and glowing coals, figuring that the baby, if he was really just a baby, would reach for the coals because the coals were glowy and warm and cool and moving, while the gold, it shimmered, but it was kind of dull. The story goes that baby Moshe reached for the gold, but at the last moment an angel of God came, knocked his hand away, his hand went into the coals, his hand got burnt, and like any baby would do, he reaches up and sticks his hand in his mouth in order to cool it off, but his hand is still burning, and that burns his tongue, and that's why he's slow of speech. So that's the version that I was told growing up, but it turns out that there's a little bit more to the Mishnah that fleshes it out, so to speak, and it also maybe tells us a little bit more about why this Mishnah exists. So this version comes from Midrash Rabbah, the collection of Midrash called Midrash Rabbah on the book of Shemot, on the book of Exodus. And that means that it was first written down for publishing about 1,000 years ago or so, although the story could be much older than that. We don't know. So here's how the story goes in the Midrash. So it starts from Moshe's adoption by Pharaoh's daughter, and that his daughter loves him so much that she brings him around the household, treats him as if he is her biological child, the way she would treat any child that she had produced. And everybody loved this baby because the baby was the most beautiful little baby they'd ever seen. The language is very clear. It doesn't say cute. It doesn't say adorable. The baby was beautiful and made everybody just want to fall in love with the baby. And the baby played a little game. Whenever his grandfather, Pharaoh, picked up the baby, said, "Ooh, who's a little baby? Who's a cute little baby?" Baby Moshe would reach up to Pharaoh's crown and grab it and put it on his head. So Pharaoh picks up the baby reaches out, grabs the crown, and puts it on his head. You know, as somebody who wears glasses, I'm used to this with babies, because what babies like to do when I hold them, I go, "Who's a cute baby? Who's a cute baby?" They reach, they grab my glasses, and they try to play with them, or they grab my beard, which is even more uncomfortable. But anyway, this is about Pharaoh. Pharaoh didn't have glasses. We don't know what kind of beard he had, but he did have a crown. And baby Moshe would grab the crown, put it on his head. Now Pharaoh's magicians, the same magicians that had predicted that a Hebrew child would lead to Pharaoh's downfall, these magicians started to get suspicious. And they started to whisper in Pharaoh's ear, and they said, Hey, Pharaoh, remember that prophecy? Remember we told you some Hebrew child would be the one to defeat you? Maybe this is the one. Look at this child. Look how much it wants your crown. You know what we should do? And this is what the Midrash says. You know what we should do? We should kill him. And then others said, we shouldn't just kill him, we should burn him, just to make sure we get it right. Now, fortunately, according to the Midrash, Jethro, was in Pharaoh's group of magicians at this time. Jethro was part of Pharaoh's court, according to this Midrash. And Jethro is the one who proposes the test. He's the one who says, well, let's get a tray, and let's put on the tray gold and coals. Now, if the baby is just a baby, the baby will reach for the coals because they're glowing and everything else. But if the baby knows more than that baby is letting on, if Moshe's plan is really to defeat you, then Moshe is going to reach for the gold. And just as it is when we tell the story, they put the gold and the coals before baby Moshe. Gold, coals. The baby starts to reach for the gold. And Gavriel, the angel Gabriel, comes, and he's the one who knocks Moshe's hand toward the coal, singular. It's a piece of coal. So Moshe ends up grabbing the coal, And like a baby would do when they pick up something new, even if it hurts initially, is the baby going to put the coal in his mouth. And that the coal is what burned his tongue and what causes him to be slow of speech. And that's the midrash. Of course, Moshe survives, and we eventually come to the rest of the story. Here are the questions I'd like to leave you with from this midrash. Number one, why do you think it exists? Why does this story exist? Number two, and this is related to number one, what problem does this midrash solve? And I think it does solve a problem according to the rabbis who spread it. And number three, which again is related to the other two, what problems or challenges does it introduce, perhaps while solving the problem that the rabbis had? So again, number one, why does it exist? Number two, what problem might it solve? And number three, what new problems does the existence of this midrash introduce? Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you at parshacast.com. I'll be broadcasting the usual show on Thursday with a special guest. I've got bonus Fridays on Friday, and I will answer these questions next Monday. Have a great week.